Right now at 6, back to the negotiating table.
I'm fighting for smaller class sizes, so students get what they actually deserve.
The new request from state lawmakers that the Portland School Board rejected.
Plus, a Portland mausoleum falls into disrepair, leaving families fed up.
That is absolutely pathetic that they let that happen.
And bringing indigenous art to downtown Portland.
And I think that once I do this art, it's not mine anymore. It belongs to everyone.
Meet the pair working to bring an origin story to life.
Good evening, everyone. We begin at 6 with day 3 of a strike in Oregon's largest school district, with both parties now back at the bargaining table. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm China Green. Today, Portland public school teachers marched from Lincoln High School to City Hall as a union and district met for the first time since the strike started on Wednesday. Lawmakers also called on PPS school board members to sit in on negotiations.
We have team coverage tonight. Blair Best is at PPS headquarters in North Portland on some of the unique challenges one group of teachers say they're facing. But first, let's get to Thomas Schultz at City Hall with the very latest. Thomas.
Yeah, David, well, despite pressure from Governor Tina Kotek as well as other state lawmakers, those school board members did not sit in on bargaining negotiations today. Now, that's led to some confusion from state legislatures as teacher frustrations continue to rise.
Well, enough is enough.
As Portland teachers rallied for a third straight day, bargaining resumed.
We're hoping that we can, exchange proposals and come to some type of a resolution on some agreement.
Teachers are asking for higher wages, smaller class sizes, and more prep time for teachers. Though Portland Public Schools says everything the union wants would cost more than $200 million. This week, district officials called on state lawmakers for more funding. Now, politicians are pushing back.
I'm puzzled by the fact that they can't support teachers.
State Senator Elizabeth Steiner and 15 other lawmakers sent a letter to school board members saying they gave PPS everything Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero wanted. She says it's unlikely more money is coming PPS's way.
We have never seen investments like this in K-12 education.
Investments, including more than $10 billion in educational funding statewide. Lawmakers say PPS needs to cut administrative expenses and refocus resources on classrooms and students. Teachers
What do we do? Public schools are under attack.
Agree.
Our students aren't getting the one-on-one attention that they need.
I have mostly classes over 30. In the chemistry lab, it's really hard to manage.
And as a strike continues, educators expand their march to not just focus on schools, but the entire city.
These kids, whether you have children in PPS or not, these are our kids, and we need to take care of our community. City Hall is definitely part of that.
And while teachers march, bargaining continues. Now, we reached out to Portland Public Schools as well about that letter from lawmakers to their school board members, and they say, look, our board members are the ones actually directing our bargaining team. They also believe that they have a proposal in place right now that is, quote, rewarding for their teachers. Now, of course, China and David, the big question remains, when is a deal actually going to be reached? The two sides are going to continue bargaining until 8 o'clock tonight. If no deal is reached by that point, PPS is hopeful that they can continue these sessions to tomorrow and into the weekend as well, but that scheduling is going to be up to a mediator. Of course, this is all an attempt from both the PAT, the Teachers Union, and Portland Public Schools to eventually, hopefully, reach a deal by Monday and get these kids back in class. David, China.
All right, Thomas, thank you. Meanwhile, teachers who work in dual language immersion programs are also on those picket lines.
Blair Best is live outside district headquarters with more on what they are asking for. Blair.
Well, these teachers have unique challenges in that they're teaching students 2 separate languages during the same school day. Now, there's only a handful of these Russian immersion programs in the country, and one of them is at Kelly Elementary in Southeast Portland. Teachers there say things like unmanageable class sizes and not enough teachers are preventing them from providing high-quality education. Some teachers are so overwhelmed they only have time to spend about 10 minutes a day with each student.
And it's very hard. It's very hard. I don't have enough time for address all the challenges that I have.
It means they don't value the educators, and then they don't value what we do.
Now, these teachers say they first brought these concerns to the district 7 years ago, so that this has been an ongoing problem, and they plan to keep striking until they reach an agreement. Now, as for the school district, they have not provided us with a response to any of these concerns. David, China.
Blair, thank you. And of course, stay with KGW for continuing coverage of the Portland Public Schools teacher strike. You can find regular updates on air and online at kgw.com and on the KGW app.
All right, let's get to weather now. You're looking live at Moda Center from our Rose City Skycam, where the Blazers are set to tip off against the Grizzlies in about an hour. 59 degrees on this Friday with the rain starting to move in.
And there's a lot more on the way. Chief Meteorologist Matt Savino is here for a first look at your wet weekend forecast.
Yeah, China, you know, you really can't overstate it. And you just said it 3 times. So, yeah, it is going to be a wet one for sure. And it's already, I mean, you can barely see the Quinna Bay Bridge right now, right? That's how much it's raining and how foggy it is out at the coast. Winds are still light, but they're going to really pick up after midnight tonight. There's a high wind warning on the coast. Look at the rain now spreading up into the Cascade foothills. There's plenty more offshore where this is coming from. So, yes, we've got several hours of steady rain. Initially light rain, but then it's going to pick up and become heavier as we go into the overnight hours. And then the wind picks up too, hopefully when all of us are sleeping in the 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. time range. But it's going to be blustery tomorrow as well. So this is the atmospheric river that we're dealing with right now. It's the second of the 2 that we've had this week. And you may be wondering about this term atmospheric river. I've gotten a lot of questions about it because it's only really been used for about the last 15 years or so. This is a map showing all of them that hit the West Coast last year. From October 1 through September 30th, there were 46 of them, but the bulk of them hit us here in Western Oregon with the black, the red, and the magenta, the strongest one. So they're really quite common, and they're responsible for producing some of our heaviest and most beneficial rainfall that we get throughout the course of the rainy season. And boy, is it the rainy season tonight. Rain will get heavy at times. It'll be a wet weekend as we transition to showers and possible thunderstorms too. But next week we've got some dry time on the way. So all is not wet. Just the weekend. And don't forget, we turn the clocks back Sunday morning, guys.
And don't forget that 46. I don't think we need to break any records this year. Thank you, Matt. Let's get to your headlines this evening. People held in jail without a lawyer for more than a week will soon be released. That is the order from a federal judge in response to Oregon's broken public defender system. As our reporting on this issue has shown, there are just not enough lawyers to do the job, often leaving low-income defendants without representation. On Thursday, Judge Michael McShane ordered all counties statewide to release criminal defendants from jail if they've been held without a lawyer within 7 days of their first court appearance.
Someone could be released despite the best efforts to keep them in custody.
Well, the order will take effect in 2 weeks. It'll apply to those currently in custody and future defendants. As of today, there are 135 people in Oregon jails who don't have court-appointed counsel. Pat Doris and the team at The Story have a much deeper dive on this issue. That's coming up at 6:30.
Hundreds of Yamhill County workers walked off the job this morning after a mediation session yesterday failed to produce a contract. The two sides have been negotiating since March. The union wants a 15% wage increase over the next 3 years, among other things. The county countered that proposal with 3 offers ranging from 10 to 14%. A work stoppage could actually impact a number of services, including the health department, public works, mental health services. County leaders say that they're committed to keeping critical services running. The next mediation session is scheduled for Tuesday.
In Gresham, police are asking for help finding an 11-year-old girl who went missing. This is Alyssa. Authorities say she was last seen around 4 p.m. Thursday on Northwest Miller Avenue. She's about 5'5", has braided hair with pink, blue, and purple in her braids. She was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt and red sweatpants. Police say Alyssa is familiar with TriMet. She also spends time with friends in the Fairview Oaks area. That's on Northeast Halsey. If you think you've seen her, you're asked to call Gresham Police.
Today, Portland State University celebrated the grand opening of their Dreamer Resource Center. It's been 6 years in the making, led by both faculty and Dream PSU, a student group founded in 2017. The new space will provide support for students who have all sorts of immigration experiences and identities, whether they're undocumented, under the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or have mixed status.
Dreamer students and their allies have led the charge for advocating for this space. I find that to be tremendously inspiring.
Among a few of the resources, a computer lab, scholarships, professionalism development, workshops, and one-on-one navigational support.
New this evening, a woman with several relatives entombed at a local mausoleum says she's growing increasingly frustrated when it comes to the upkeep.
And as Tim Gordon reports tonight, she believes the lack of attention is disrespectful to both the living and the dead.
It's a place with a lot of history. Wilhelm's Portland Memorial is a funeral home, crematory, and mausoleum that dates back to the early 1900s.
We come to change the floral for every holiday, or we come change the floral for every season.
This woman named Adrian does not want to be fully identified. She's been coming here her whole life to visit 3 generations of grandparents, all laying in rest inside. But she can't stand what she showed us and described as a lack of upkeep, at least.
It is extremely upsetting. The legacy of my family feels like it's just been swept under the rug, and it's really hard to see it in this disrepair because I don't want that for my family.
Adrian pointed out the cobwebs, and there are many, under pews and along mausoleum hallways, active with spiders and spider eggs. There are also broken windows where birds can apparently enter, their droppings left on the marble. Adrian says a Florida-based company that now owns the facility should be held accountable, but so far have not addressed her concerns.
The lack of respect and the lack of legacy that they are keeping is what is so pathetic and what is so disturbing.
Disturbing, too, the missing letters falling off of tombs on every floor we visited. Adrian's grandfather was laid to rest last May. She says it took months to get his name put up here, finally with hot glue, so far still in place.
You don't deserve that. And that's his parents. And that's his sister and brother-in-law.
We did reach out to Wilhelm's Portland Memorial for a response. So far, we have not heard back. The same with the Oregon Mortuary and Cemetery Board. On its website, Wilhelm says its mausoleum spans 2.5 city blocks and is the largest on the West Coast, with the entire facility being 8 stories and roughly 7 miles of corridors. Adrian acknowledges it's a lot to keep up, but says they need to do better. In the meantime, she wants others who have loved ones here to know.
Whether they live here or not, they need to know that their families are being disrespected and they're being dishonored by not having a place or an establishment that is kept clean, that is even just kept up, maintained.
In Southeast Portland, Tim Gordon, KGW News.
It's really hard to swallow that, especially when it's your family member, you know?
Yeah, I hope a lot of those things can be restored and cleaned up soon.